John Kelly announces changes to security clearance protocols at the White House in the wake of Rob Porter fiasco, then flies to Florida with the president. John Kelly announced significant changes to the White House's security clearance and hiring processes on Friday as he took steps to protect the administration from bringing aboard another Rob Porter. In a memo that the White House shared with reporters, Kelly said incoming employees are no longer granted access to the complex until the Personnel Security Office has a chance to assess their suitability for employment. Kelly said that he had already ended the White House's practice of granting interim security clearance to new hires outside of extraordinary circumstances dictated by him. In ordinary circumstances, the existing processes we inherited, along with the reforms I have implemented in the past months, have generally worked well. But recent events have exposed some remaining shortcomings, he stated, making a read between the lines reference to Porter, the disgraced Trump aide whose alleged pattern of domestic abuse has been at the center of a 10-day White House saga. Porter resigned from his position as staff secretary last week after DailyMail.com published detailed, on-the-record allegations from two ex-wives who say the former Trump aide abused them. Kelly had been aware of the allegations since last year, yet Porter was allowed to remain on staff with interim access to classified material at the highest level while his background check was adjudicated. The Personnel Security Office is said to have had Porter's completed FBI background check and was conducting its own investigation when DailyMail.com printed the ex-wives' allegations. Porter was one of the White House's first hires, joining President Trump's staff on the day of his January 2017 inauguration. Yet, 13 months later, Porter still had interim clearance as the authorities continued to evaluate what the White House now says are credible and true allegations of domestic abuse. Kelly said in his Friday memo that he ended the granting of new interim clearances absent extraordinary circumstances and my explicit approval in September. As for the Personnel Security Office, he said the White House has been working to improve its structure, processes, and resources. That includes closer oversight of the obscure bureau that had the responsibility of telling Kelly and other senior aides that Porter was not suitable for employment in the West Wing. The events of the last 10 days have focused immense attention on a clearance process that has been in place for multiple administrations. The American people deserve a White House staff that meets the highest standards and that has been carefully vetted, especially those who work closely with the president or handle sensitive national security information, he said. We should, and in the future, must, do better. Kelly's memo on future clearance practices is addressed to White House counsel Don McGahn, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, FBI Director Christopher Wray, National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, Director of National Intelligence Stan Coates and Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations Joe Hagen. McGahn is also said to have known about Porter's background prior to his resignation. Wray testified this week that the FBI provided an update on Porter to the White House in November and closed its file in January. It submitted its findings immediately to the White House, where Trump spokeswoman Sarah Sanders has said the Personnel Security Office was conducting its own investigation. Kelly's job was thought to be in jeopardy over the fiasco earlier in the week, but he was seen with Trump in the Oval Office on Friday before he and several other top-ranking aides followed the president onto Marine One. Trump and his wife are spending the weekend in Florida at their Palm Beach resort. Kelly was among the aides seen boarding Air Force One.